Hi there, this is Chris from MoneyHub, and this video explains Bizcap, the business lender for small and medium-sized businesses. So lots of people have asked us, what's Bizcap and why do I see it advertised so often, and can it help my business? We've developed a guide which I've linked to down below, which explains all the business loan information you need to know for applying for Bizcap, and just a general summary of everything that's useful before you make an application. What the purpose of this video really is to do is to explain some of the risks of taking out a business loan and some of the costs that are involved, because we don't want any business owner to go into this process sort of unknowing. We want people to know as much as possible. So we've got to talk about a recent article from 2022 about Bizcap and the insolvency of some of the people it lent money to. Plus, as well as I'll make some comments around the general lending process. So just as a background as to how Bizcap works, this is an introduction to their service. They're a dedicated business loan lender, so you can't get personal loans from them or car loans or anything like that. It's solely for business. And what they lend is they lend between $5,000 and $750,000. Of course, the requirements for a loan of the larger size will be quite significant, but they do lend the smaller amounts as well. And what they're looking to lend on is really just working capital expenses and everyday things. So if you need to buy stock, if you need to finish off some fit out or something like that, then they are the lender that may be able to help you. The fees are very straightforward, so it's around 3%, 2.99% to be precise, of the loan taken out. So for example, if you took out a loan of $10,000, then you would pay a $299 fee, and then you will also pay the interest, of course. The interest rates are going to be disclosed once an application is successful. So Bizcap, actually any lender for businesses, doesn't really disclose what the interest rate will be. Of course, you'll see that with mortgages, you'll see that with car loans and personal loans, a range of interest rates. But with business finance, it's very specific on your business and your cash flow, and then they take the risk assessment of that, and then they'll give you an interest rate. That interest rate will be fixed for the life of the loan. That's really consistent with most business loans. Very few of them are floating. Most of them are fixed, but always do make sure that is the situation if you do go down the route of getting a business loan. Personal guarantees and security. So this is really important, because people think, if a loan's unsecured and I don't pay it back, then there's no issue. Well, no, there is an issue here, because as a creditor, when you take out when you borrow money, you become a creditor of the lender. Then they can bankrupt you, or they can put your company into receivership. So, or appoint someone to administer it, or basically just to collect their cash. So it's really important to know that when you do sign up for a loan, if they do require security, that may be in the form of personal guarantees, and you sign those, then you are liable. And if you do have any concerns about that, you want to know more, please talk to a legal expert, such as your business lawyer. You could also talk to your accountant. This is not something to tread on lightly. These are very serious commitments, and a $10,000, $20,000 loan, or any sort of size or value of loan, can have significant long-term effects if you can't pay it back. So just continuing on with that, the decision process is apparently, from what we've heard and what we've read from people giving us feedback, is very fast. We've talked to Bizcap about this. They say that they're committed to sort of same-day applications, same-day processing. So it's something to be aware about, that sometimes that can also come with added cost versus taking it slowly with other lenders. So just always, if you are going to go down the business loan route, then make sure you do proper comparisons between different options, because getting money quickly may cost more in the long run. And it's just as a background to the company, it's an Australian company. It's been operating for a few years within New Zealand, and as I said, it's does like to do offers within 24 hours, and that's something which is kind of unrivaled within the market. They have customer service by way of phone, email, and online chat. And the website, as you can see, is linked to the guide below, and it's also linked below as well on this video. Now, I just want to sort of talk to the fact that if we go straight into who qualifies for a loan, this is a very important section here. Then you have to be a New Zealand citizen or a permanent resident, and you have to be over 18 years old with a New Zealand business, with a valid New Zealand business number / IRD number. You can demonstrate at least 6 months of trading, and at the same time your business must be turning over more than $10,000 per month. That's really, really important. So you can't be this Bizcap isn't funding for startups. It's not funding for businesses which are very sort of young into their life. It really is for established businesses that have been going for some time. Now, what they'll look at when you make the application is a whole bunch of sort of metrics, but you'll need to have all your bank statements, you'll need to have IRD forms and all of that things, and as well, if you can verify your sort of bank statements with any sort of confirmation or any kind of documents from your accountant, that will also be helpful in most cases. Touching briefly as to what the loans can be used for. Generally, it's going to be cash flow management, like buying stock, business renovations, things like that, some marketing, new equipment, or just general working capital. You can't use it, of course, for any personal purposes. So it's really important that you be explicitly clear what you need to borrow the money for. And the more you can explain on that, the easier it'll be for them to make an assessment, and also the more valid your loan will be. And as we previously said, it takes about 24 hours to get a loan, but of course that can also mean a rejection. So you should hear within the 1 business day of a decision. But as I said, please do consider comparing the market, because speed does not always mean the lowest price. So it's just something to be aware of there. And then further on to that, like the benefits, as I said, fast application, working capital flexibility, and also looking at the repayment options. You can do weekly, and you can also overpay or make early repayments without any penalty there. But at the same time, there's also fees if you miss payments or you default, and that's really important to know. And also, you do, and we haven't put it on this because it's not really much about Bizcap, it's business loans in general, but you are liable personally if you've signed a personal guarantee, and that can get very stressful, which I will sort of touch on shortly. For the best chances of a loan success, really it is to be honest and complete every section. Don't leave blanks. That's just going to raise questions. It could delay things. Share your bank data, and make sure that the numbers that you have are the latest numbers. So nothing from last year, 6 months ago, anything like that. You need really up-to-date turnover, expenses, profit, loss, other related questions. The balance sheets are really important. So really looking at what your assets are, what your liabilities are. So a loan company or a business lender such as Bizcap can make an assessment quickly as to how likely it is that you can pay back the loan. Now, what I want to talk about is the personal guarantee and security. So this is really, really important that if you do take a loan over $30,000 or something that a Bizcap says meets their qualification, then you will find that they take a charge. And that means that they have a right to your business for current and after acquired property. That means if you don't pay it, then they can effectively start to claim on your business, and this is where things become a bit sticky. So it's always, and this is not unusual for business lending, because this is security, so it's not unique to Bizcap, it's pretty much the industry. and so it's very important to know that this is the risks that you face if you don't repay the loan. And Bizcap also says that they may take personal guarantees from directors slash borrowers, and so that is critical, because then you can be personally liable. So say you don't repay a loan and you own a house, then they can trigger the sale of that house if that's an asset, which is the most significant to repay the loan. So it is very, very stressful. And then I'm just going to quickly move on to this article from Business Desk. So this came out in September 2022, and there's nothing like outwardly criticizing Bizcap in this. Bizcap just runs like any business lender in this sort of secondary market would. They lend, they hope to collect, and then once that money is repaid, then they lend out again, and they're constantly trying to grow their reputation and grow their funds that they've lent out, or their loan book. But at the same time, there is always risk. So quickly, I'll just talk about this article. It kind of just reveals a few things about Bizcap which are worth noticing. So first, worth knowing about. So firstly, they did a bit of a drive in 2022 over about 5 weeks, and put a few companies into receivership, and that was driven by the loan agreement. So these companies hadn't repaid them. They had lost patience and tried everything else to get there, it seems, and then put them into receivership. And that means that these receivership firms, there are a couple of Australians, they were called in to try and manage the companies to get back the money that had been lent. And then it talks about Bizcap as a general provider of loans. So it's been going a few years. They started in October 2020, sort of halfway through the New Zealand lockdowns, or the first New Zealand lockdowns in 2020. And then they do promote themselves as like an open-minded lender, and they are quite conscious about that. But what this article makes clear is that it's really about the risk to business owners. So where they can take down a loan, or where they've done that, the company is very clear to say that it was only other opportunities or other avenues that it appoints receivers. So this is, they will work with you, but I'm talking about sort of end of road, bad situation, lending, where there's nothing else that you can do to repay it because cash flow is tight, but the lender still needs to be repaid. And so this is where things become very, very problematic. So what I would say is this article talks about a couple more examples. There was a lender in Oamaru, there was a borrower in Oamaru, there was a borrower in Auckland. Talks about the interest rate, and then I think what most critically is after several months of working with the debt collector that Bizcap appointed, they then filed a bankruptcy proceeding against him personally. Now they've done that because they've obviously got a personal guarantee, and so this is where it becomes very stressful for business owners to have to manage that. And I'd really suggest always taking advice before taking out any business loan, because of the risks that are involved. Business lending can go very wrong very quickly. Often the interest rates are quite high, and for that reason we do have a guide to business loans, which I've linked to down below this video. You can also find it on MoneyHub, and that takes you through alternatives, and it's really useful to consider those, because some of them can be far more appropriate for your needs, rather than taking out a business loan with the added risks. So that is the summary here, and I just want to say I'm not going to post this because this is copyrighted content from Business Desk, but it does say that business lending within New Zealand is very strong. It's almost at 71 to 78 billion dollars, quite large. Of course, a lot of that is taken up by institutional loans. That's a large, sizable companies. But at the same time, there's a lot of small business owners out there who want a loan, and it's something to just be very aware of, that there's a lot of downside. Even if you see an unsecured loan or a secured loan over your business, the second that you sign personal guarantees or anything like that, then you are liable, and it can become very problematic. So please just read through our review, and also I strongly suggest reading through our Best Business Loans review, because that's also very helpful, and it'll guide you through everything you need to know. We cover interest rates, types of business loans available. We've also got a video to describe it, the pros and cons of business loans, then alternatives, frequently asked questions, and then also a list of trusted lenders. Thank you very much for watching. If you do have any questions, please leave them down below in the comment section. You can also email us. We like to get our guides up to date as much as possible, especially around business lending. We're very, very conscious of the fact that there's lots of questions around it and lots of concerns. So we want to make sure that what we publish is the most sort of trusted authority. And so please feel free to help us do that by asking any question that you have. Thank you very much for watching.